Efficiency or chaos? Oh.
So are you obsessed with efficiency in your FBA business, or does chaos rule? For me, it's a little bit of both. So I'm here doing some listing, and I thought I would talk about the topic of efficiency or lack thereof. I'm somewhat efficient in the business, but I'm also completely inefficient in the business as well. I lack efficiency in most aspects of my FBA business. Examples would be, which people have brought up on some of the videos I've made, is not using a Bluetooth scanner while out there sourcing. For a variety of reasons, I have not done that yet, which is slower if you're using your camera phone. I do not currently use a repricer. It would probably be more efficient or quicker to reprice with a repricer, but I do it manually when I actually do it, which is not that often. I hear a lot of people doing bulk uploads through Seller Center or doing it through another software. So I do not do bulk uploads. I do it one by one through Seller Central. One by one. This all plays into my preference to control as much of the process as possible. It does not lend itself to having as much efficiency as I could. And I'm not the only one. I heard of other people on Facebook groups that talk about this, that do FBA, some of them even full time, and admitting that they're not that efficient because they can't let go of certain things. Some things they'll do bulk uploading, but then on the other hand, they won't get a repricer because they want to have more control and they're too worried about the software taking over and that sort of thing. I more or less agree with that. This is a person that does it full time I'm talking about as an example. For myself, I feel that my life dictates my efficiency or lack thereof in my FBA business, not the other way around, because of how my schedule is. But some examples of how I am semi-efficient or close to it is sending out, so two things. Sourcing, I source on certain days of the week, right? 2 weekdays and Saturday, so 3 days a week, and always those 3 days for sure. If I can get any other sourcing in on the other days, on the other 4 days, then that's great, but I always source those 3 days for certain, and usually at certain times. So that helps me to be consistent, right? Which is potentially a little more efficient than just being random about your sourcing. So having a bit of a schedule, and I think even if I could double my time of sourcing, I would probably do the same thing. In addition to random sourcing as well. Another way is that I'm, for months now, since middle of last year, so 6, 7, 8 months, I have stuck to a schedule of sending out a shipment every 2 weeks, and that has enabled me to build up my inventory and to grow my sales. So before that, I was less efficient, and I was probably shipping out about once a month on average, 3 to 4 weeks, I would say on average. And that just had to do with how many items I had, and basically on a whim just felt like, oh, that's enough items to send out. Whereas now, regardless of how many I have, I'll send them out. Like I need to send this next shipment out by Friday, and it's Wednesday. And I've been listing last night and today, trying to catch up with the listing because I was in Vegas for 5 days, so wasn't able to do any listing. And not to mention that I got some stuff in Vegas, another 25 or so items. I've listed up to over 60, about 65 items now, and still have some more to go, but I'm almost done. So I want to make sure that I get that shipment out, even if it's only 100 items or 95 items or whatever. The consistency is more important than the quantity. So that's another way where I'm a little bit efficient, or at least became more efficient than I was before. So there's little ways that I feel that I increase my efficiency, but overall, I'm probably not that efficient. So listing, it's pretty slow for me. As long as I can focus in on it, I did spend an hour and a half last night and did over 30, 35 items, which is not a great pace, I know. That's a perfect example. Some of them were CDs, so I checked the CDs. Again, not efficient, but I'm a control freak about this, and I want to make sure that the CDs play and there's not an issue with them. So another thing with VHS tapes, right? I always check them, at least to make sure that the audio and video is working briefly, for watch 5-10 seconds of it. These are ways that I'm not efficient, but I feel that I am making sure that I'm not sending products in that can potentially be returned or get a bad review or rating and that sort of thing, put me into any issues. I'd rather skip speed or efficiency and be more thorough and have better quality. better quality items sent in, making sure that the quality is good. Now, I'm very part-time doing FBA, even though I've been able to build it up. So I'm not full-time, not even close in terms of the hours I'm putting in. But I can understand if you're doing this full-time that you would need some level of efficiency in order to sustain the business and grow it and make sure that Amazon is paying you the amount of money you need to be paid every 2 weeks. Because if you're relying on your FBA income to buy food and pay your rent or mortgage and your car note, et cetera, then I understand, clearly that efficiency becomes probably more important, probably more of a larger concern and a focus. Listing needs to be faster, sourcing needs to be faster and more, right? Need to source more. So everyone's situation is different, I understand, but I think full-time is different than clearly part-time. Also, I feel like the need for speed and for constant efficiency, which I see frequently people talking about, oh, well, but how many can you list an hour? I can go source 100 items and then I can list it and send it out the next day and being super fast about it. And again, if you're full-time or if you're that kind of personality that you need to just do it fast and get it out there, then that's your thing and that makes sense. But for me, I want a certain level of efficiency in certain aspects of the business. I also don't want to lose the enjoyment that I get out of it. I don't want to turn into a robot. I've mentioned this in other videos at least a few times. I don't want to become robotic, and I want this to become a monotonous, tedious, boring activity or boring business, because that's not why I got into it. The money is awesome, right? That's the payoff. In addition to finding great stuff that sells for good money. I don't want to get up in the morning and say, oh, great, I got to list 200 items. Oh, great, I got to go source 200 items. Oh, gosh, I hate it. I got to ship this out. But I got to be quick about it. I got to hurry, because I got to send it in and make the money. If you're relying on it and it's your sole income and you need to be in a sort of panic mode all the time, okay, I understand. I personally want to be, if and when I am putting in, let's say, 30 to 40 hours a week of sourcing, let's say 20 to 30 hours of sourcing plus another, 15 or so of listing, whatever the hours break down, but let's say double what I'm doing now. It's more along the lines of full time. I want to do that because I want to do it, right? Not because I have to do it. So the money that I'm making doing this, I'm banking it, I'm saving it. I'm not blowing it. I want to grow it. I want to grow a pile of money to have a certain level of safety and security. So if and when this becomes the main source of income for our household, I don't feel like it has become this horrible job or horrible thing that I have to do in order to pay the bills or in order to take a trip or whatever it may be. Efficiency can be a path to tedium or to just another way to make money that you don't like. When you come up with these systems and these ways of banging stuff out so fast and being super efficient, up to a certain point, at least for me, that's a good thing, I believe. So are you obsessed with efficiency, or is chaos kind of running the show? Or a little bit of both, like it is for me? Probably more towards the chaos. Let me know. As always, remember, keep booking! Let me in, baby.
Okay, efficiency or chaos?